Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Hello and good afternoon, good evening, everyone, listeners. Welcome to 5.8G Alive. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, which brings you 5.8G Alive. And with me as usual today.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Welcome, welcome.
Well, Jennifer, we in the middle of August holidays. August holidays going hot and steady. And I am hoping that all of our viewers have plans with family, and if not family, with self. And even if you have to make the holiday period special. You don't think so? What you up to?
Yeah, I was thinking, Terry-Ann, so I can say, okay, I'm not working again. I'm not trying going to school for holidays, but listen to me. August holiday is a big thing. It's like, you're celebrating Christmas. It's a big holiday. It's time for us. And I really feel we all should look at it as a time to enjoy life with family and friends and do things different. Even if we never come out before and go to the park or go by the beach or take a small trip. It could be now they say what staycation.
It could
You don't have to go. You could, book a guest house. And I just find that it's so lovely. I mean, I grew up with us doing that.
Yes.
And I still feel like a family, let's do something. If you have no family, call a friend and say, do a road trip. I'm seeing a lot of people, just small groups doing road trips. Do something. But I really believe July, August is the time to just release and enjoy life.
Because, as again, if I take an example from the world of business or the world of school, for many companies, September 1st is the start of their financial year, or October 1st, sorry, as it were, the last quarter. And you have this period, which is I will use the word reset to give a hint about what we're talking about. And even in school, you finish one level and you have to take a breather to just, okay, let us just do what we want. Let us just settle ourselves. Let us just have a time, come out of the normal. So I think even though we are out of the workplace, and even though we may not have the children to prepare for the new term, moving up, going up to big class or big school or whatever graduation that you're doing, it is still important for us to consciously, even in our third act lives, to sit down and say, all right, what I'm doing for the August holidays to help prepare for the next stage. You often talk about you plan in decades. All right. I think we need to also have mini plans and quarters, and this little period, June, July, August, is our reset and resettle.
Every time you hear like August come up, you say, yes, holiday time. It just stays with us. Absolutely. So enjoy it.
Definitely.
Do something different. Go out there and just have a great, prepare. You still have time.
Definitely. And Jennifer, as we are talking about that, we are excited. Connections 50 Plus is excited because we know that on Friday coming, this 21st of July, we are having our small group forum, the Reset Forum. And I think it is such a phenomenal opportunity for us to look at What's the new plan? What's the new reset? And what are we going to do to shake up lives? And so I am looking forward to our next session where we want to talk a lot about, what is this about? Because sometimes I think people have their little misconceptions and so on.
Yeah.
So let's meet back on the other side as we sharpen up our own tune and prepare for holiday reset. Jen, a lot of people, as we are going through and preparing for the forum, we are finding, at least I'm finding, and I don't know if you are too, that our cohort, there's a lot of energy and excitement in us. But there is a reluctance, if I want to use the word reluctance, to tap in to that energy or to let that energy out, because I think a lot of us want to remain confined by expectations that, that people and society may have set. And we seem to not fully get off and running with this third act. And it really prevents us from being, as I say, all we could be and not really hitting the reset button fully. What do you think about that? Is that something that you observe and you see?
Yeah, and because Tarian, for us, remember, when we're planning for our retirement, when you're in your workplace, or even if you're doing your own little business, but you're planning, I mean, we still use the word retirement. For us now, we know it's not really retirement, it's being in transition. But let me go with the traditional way, because when you leave any workplace, you're retiring.
Yeah.
But Tarrant is always for us, when you retire, you're retiring to have fun. You're retiring to just enjoy yourself, to go on a cruise, to do nothing. It's all about just freeing up and doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So just the thought that you have to admit to, after you retire now and you really recognize that you admit you're on the third stage, you also have to recognize that you don't know what to do on the stage, And we spoke about it already. In the first, let's even say we say 3 years. I'm not even going 3 years. Some people in a year. You're fed up. You're home. Where you going again? You want to go back out to work. You want to do things. But and you realize, I don't know. I need to know now what to do. So when you have, so again, and we always mention it, oh, we love to go out. A lot of us will say, if you say, let's do something. Like a friend tell me today, oh, pick me up now, I want to come out the house. Yeah, we really want to come out the house because we're fed up now. But Tarian, when we talk about we reset and you put it in the form of a forum or anything where now we have to come together, and the talk is not about enjoying yourself. The talk is not about going on a little function. The talk is about, hey, we have to recognize we don't know what to do, and we're feeling like, oh God, we're back in the workplace for them to tell us what to do again. And we had enough of that. So you're really hesitant. And that's the feedback. When I speak with some people and I say, are you coming to the forum? And I say, we want to know, but oh gosh, I feel I know all what you're all going to tell me. I say, are you happy how you're going? No, but we're going to be all right. I believe, Terry, and that is a feeling of, and I don't want to use the word fear, but doubt, you're unsure.
Yeah.
And you're still not too, is there really a roadmap for me to follow?
Yeah.
And we spoke earlier on, if there's a roadmap and we're looking to see who are our role models. And you look at who we feel are role models and you say, look, they're doing all right and they don't seem to be, So yeah, it is something that we addressing, we understand, and this is really nice because one thing I can say, and we have proof of that, is when the group come out and we have the forum, the feedback is always from those, oh gosh, we're glad we came. I will tell a friend next thing when you all have something else again,
Yeah.
to make sure they come.
Yeah.
So I know we're on the right track, what we're doing, but I also understand the bit of being hesitant or anxious about coming and exposing myself and telling you, Terry, and girl, I really don't know what to do at this stage. I need help. And feeling that I supposed to know at this stage, I supposed to
Yeah.
know. So yeah.
No. And Jennifer, apart from the I suppose to know issue, it is also the social awkwardness. In
Yeah.
that the we really have to reset a lot, because the social circles that we would have become accustomed to, whether it is work related or even family related, a lot of us come onto the third act thinking that, I mean, one of the biggest things we hear is, oh, the grandchildren, I'm going to spend a lot of time with the grandchildren. But you
Yeah.
spend the last 3 years or 4 years of your work life anticipating this grandchildren story. Now, the grandchildren, they're 1, 2, 3 years and they all obsessed with granny. But when you're ready for the grandchildren, they're 4, 5, 6 years and they discover something called school and real friends.
Yeah.
And you find that a lot of the plans that you have for socially occupying your time, whether it was with the grandchildren, whether it was thinking that your own children will have more time for you to go and knock about and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not happening because they are now at the peak of their lives, very busy, and a lot of people have less time for you, probably including a spouse or probably no spouse or partner. And it is very, very hard for many of us to, first of all, admit that you no longer have the social equity and leverage that you had before, whether it is in the family or in your society, that it's not as easy because you probably built your house and moved into one of these new developments that's sort of away from everybody. And because you left home at 6 and you returned at 8, you really never got time to mix and mingle with the neighbors. So you're looking at the neighbors and wondering, who is that person? So there is a social awkwardness of, all right, how do I step back in to that social group and meet new people, learn to open myself so that people could meet me. So there's the fear that you talked about, and there's the social awkwardness that just makes it seem so daunting to create this new platform that we have to live in and live on.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is also another huge challenge that and it's there really isn't, yet back to the issue of role models, there really is no place for us to bring these things to and meet with like-minded people to talk through it and to figure out, well, what can we do and how can we create this new road? And I think one of the things that is one of the reasons that we absolutely think that our small group forum reset is so important is to give us that space to comfortably and on our terms, in our own way, present those issues.
It's like, and you're speaking Italian, and I'm thinking it's like, when we throw back to when we just started to work, your first day of work, you left school, you have all your qualifications and everything, and you're bright and you're ready to go. But when you reach into that workplace, and they said, this is what you have to do. Is you have to learn all over again. And some people say, oh gosh, I complete my studies, I do all that, I have to do this again. And you realize it's a completely different type of part you're on now. It's not just on the academic aspect, but you have to understand the whole system and what is happening, how you have to act. And this comes like that.
And
So
the
we coming
people,
off, we in a we in a new classroom. This is a new stage, and we keep saying we're on a new stage. So it is important for us. We believe we know it. We're supposed to know it because we have years of experience, life experience, in every way we think we good. But when you get there, realize it is not about that experience. It's not about what you did in the workplace. It's not about what all the courses you did when you were in the workplace or what you qualified in or what career you chose for yourself then. This is something completely new. And unless we are open-minded and we realize, listen, we need to understand how to navigate this stage, you find we will be just every now and again complain. And we could complain. We find other things to complain about because we're not satisfied with where we are. And we reach this stage, and you mentioned expectations. So we're not satisfied with where we are. We're not satisfied with where the children are, or our spouse, or whoever. So I mean, that affects Terry, and I really feel, and I want to use the word, it sabotage our happiness, I would say.
Mhm.
But we first have to recognize
Yeah,
what is the cause.
yeah.
What is the cause?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a definite fact because when we were planning to do this, when we not do the reset is the outcome of our thinking about our cohorts. We looked at how you enjoy yourselves. We looked at you in our social events. We looked at you in our different fora. Last week, you saw some participants who would have done the individual program. And we know that there is and you said to us, there is a real need to be able to interact and meet with people that you don't know. You want to do that, but we all have our hang-ups, hesitancies about stepping into a space with new people, worried about that judging and what will people think of us, because we come in with real intact, well-established, cemented, marinated and secured egos. So we have very, very clear definitions of who we are and what we are good at, and we've invested so much time and attention in shielding, hiding, ignoring, distracting ourselves from those things that we may find we're not too proud of. And now that we are on this third act, all of the things that had to shield, distract, not pay attention, they're not there again. And it's our awkwardness in stepping out to socialize, learn to meet new friends, and to face the reality of a different status. A status of not having children dependent on us, but telling us, I don't agree with you and I ain't doing that. Of having grandchildren say, no, I'm going with my friends, not with you, Granny. Of not being the boss and the reference in the office. So all of those status things that gave us power and helped us to be happy with who we are, have now gone. And a lot of us, that sabotage comes up because we're drawing on old toolkits that are not relevant for the time. And one of the things that came out very, very strongly with Maureen Bowen is, and Maureen is going to be our facilitator at the reset, is how do we take the skills that we had and apply them to a new set of tools that will take the best of us and make it more relevant as we reshape how our lives would be in this third act stage. So, we're not using the old, we're not using a typewriter in the age of devices. I
It
think
is, as you said, Terry, and this is really, and come to me, a new beginning.
Yeah.
It's a whole new beginning. And of course, we have, and we normally refer to our different age groups. So we have the 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 plus. And so we all have varying experiences. But the thing about it is the focus, and we focus on that, is for you to be happy within yourself, for you to be happy. Because if you put 100 persons together here within our age group, the 50 plus, and you really ask them, what is the main goal in life? And it's to be happy, you know, to be, people say there's nothing like stress-free, but yeah, you could reduce the level of stress to be really, really happy. And we have to look at what are the things we have to do to get that happiness. And to me, to look at that, we also have to look at what are we doing now? And I keep using the word sabotage because that keep coming to me. But if you don't want to say what are we doing now, just that causing us not to be that happy, then look at the other side. What can we do to ensure that we have that happiness? And when we look at what can we do, when we look at it, that's why we look at the reset. Because in the reset and having the professional like Maureen going on the board with us helps us to, whatever your issue would be able to, what can you do? So we can direct you, okay, in our various capacity and skill set, added to what you have, we could say, okay. Because somebody must be very happy in one way, you know, and the only time they stress out is when the family life not going good. You know, some people, family life going great, but they themselves not happy because they find they're not having their own little space to do the things they want to. It varies. And Terry, and what I find is great with that. So when we ask ourselves, what will inspire us or ignite us? You know, so we're going to forget it. We're not thinking on the negative side at all. We're thinking of moving forward. It is to think of, okay, what can ignite us? And not sometimes, to me, all the time, when you're in a nice small group setting, and Maureen said it, and somebody else talk about something, they say, oh yes, I didn't want to bring it out. It's somewhere deep inside, but it's not something I will talk about because I might be embarrassed. I might be not boasting, but so proud of how my son or daughter did and their family life going so great. So, Terry, when I see you, I'll say, you know, my daughter, oh gosh, things going good. Thank God she and the husband doing well, the child doing well. They just bought a house. You know, we like to put everybody in a nice little box, and that is success. Success to them is success for us. So I would have told you that a couple of months ago. And next thing you know, somewhere along the line, children divorce, who gone, and you know, it happens.
Jennifer.
And Terry, when I say you, how can I tell you now if you ask me, oh, how do you know, people love to tell you that. The lovely couple go in and they are my, say they're all right. But inside of me saying, Jesus, this is not something I want to talk about. But in a forum, I may not bring it out, but someone who may be more open, discuss it. And they are my, even if I'm not saying anything, get the eye and say, I know how to respond. If somebody asks me, I had to learn all these things, right? If somebody asks me, how the train going, how the grand going, I could be real without feeling, you don't have to tell them their business, but at least respond in a way that I'm not uncomfortable. And these are the little, it may sound petty, Tarian, but it eats up on our inside. By the time you reach home, you're saying, Lord, God help me with this situation. Put these children back together now. You know?
Jennifer, I will give an example that a lot of us going through right now, and I'm going to help plenty people. We just get SEA results, Jennifer.
Gosh, yeah.
We just get SEA results. And
And that's how we granted. Jesus.
And the reality is that for the 20,000 people that did the SEA, there are only prestige seats for 2,000. Is only 10% of them could go. So even though if little Tara or little Johnny got 95%, they weren't in the 99 and 199 and 98 that fill up the 2,000 seats. And after all of the preparations you did for little Tara and little Johnny with the specialist lessons and the amount of money you spend carrying it to the school and the amount of
and we grannies. We grannies, I mean.
And now
they're supporting and waiting for the only one good results.
You have no idea, avoiding people, and you're trying to figure out how to say that little Tara and little Johnny get placed. That is true.
And not, yeah, Tara, you're quite correct. And I think one of the areas that and it will come out again when we're in a forum, is how you have to be sensitive to others in terms of the questions that we ask. And it could be in terms of whether it's the education, the marriage, the health situation, because health is other thing when people not conscious. And we still have many of us, as we say, our cohort is like secret agents. So we still at the stage where we don't discuss certain illnesses and things. And someone who may have been suffering right now with a certain ailment, but they prefer not talk about it. All right. But inside, Terry, and in pain, they may want to express themselves. They don't know how, and then they may meet a friend who says, oh gosh, look how you're looking small. What happened to you? Your hair dropping and you don't know how to respond.
Jennifer?
So we need to understand all these things, Terry, and you get, because we had a forum. Sorry for coming. Let me just share this. I remember in one of the forums, someone actually spoke about how they were, coming out of the serious illness and therapy and all that, and shared their story. And in sharing the story, I remember someone else who was in that forum got up and thanked them because they were going through situation and could not talk about it. So these things happen a lot in these forums.
Jennifer, I'm going to give an example of a live case that's going on right now. And it is something that, and this is someone who I know looks at the program. And I'm putting this in a generic way, so it may affect many, many people, but this is how not being able to release and how not being able to talk, even in the most private of groups, can really. There's someone who about 4 months ago visited a doctor for a routine check and did not discuss with the family what the doctor said, but took away from the doctor's visit a list of things that were supposed to have been done. All right, so don't eat so much of this, do that. And the person continued to just get they were doing these things, and as far as the family was concerned, they were following instructions, you know, you're in your 70s, so yeah, you're supposed to cut back on salt, not do this, no problem.
Yeah.
We don't know whether that person didn't listen to the doctor, didn't hear the doctor, or chose to deliberately not share with family what the doctor said. But 4 months on, and as I said, I don't mean to trigger anybody, but it is an example. This person is at stage 4 lung cancer, but it's lung cancer that started as cervical cancer. And in that period of not opening to accept that there's something going on with me and I need to change it. Now I'm giving an extreme example, but this is a real example. In that 4 months period, you had that cancer moving from the cervix into the stomach, onto the liver, onto the bone, and now into the lung. And the family is discovering, because of course there's a complete change in the physical makeup and everything.
Yeah.
And the family's discovered, and the family still doesn't know whether the doctor told you, or did the doctor tell you but you didn't hear, or the doctor told you, you heard, and you chose not to share out of sheer fear. And what your idea was of how this defines you and how you will be seen and how you'll be accepted. And so many of us, Jennifer, in this transition, because we don't know what this new thing means to us, we don't even want to put out an idea of, you know, I am thinking of this. What do you think? Because there's no safe space to have that discussion.
Also, Tarian, we tend to believe that if we talk about it, things will get worse. It's thinking that we have, maybe an old school way of thinking that if you discuss it, when people talk, they would add a negative to your situation. But again, we could only make the decision based on knowing other stories. When I say other stories, the positive stories that so-and-so may have been diagnosed, but because they got into a certain group and they started chatting and sharing stories, they were better off, or, you know, because of family members. And I remember, and I talk about it with my own family situation when my sister was diagnosed with cancer, and my cousin who took her to the clinic on the day that she got the news, and she told my cousin, because, you know, you're coming out of the shop, she needed to say something, but had my cousin promised not to tell nobody.
Yeah.
Now, she's married with her family, so it's not to say that nobody. And I have to say, fortunately, my cousin thought about it, you know, we want to pray about it, get the answer, and could not live with that secret, understanding that if she shared it with loved ones, she would be in a better position. And she did. And it made a big difference to the life, because we're able to say, okay, we take turns when you go in for your test or your checkup. Somebody there with you, we can go for dinner after, we could talk, different things. And it made a difference. And she was happy that my cousin took the pressure off of her, because sometimes it's too much pressure, Tarian, for us to talk about things that pain, as I said, whether it is it could be illness, it could be your family member, one of your siblings did something that you can't even talk about, your situation home, you lose your house at this stage in life after you retire, something happened and you have to move out from your beautiful home to downsize, all these different issues that happen on this stage. but we can only make that decision and say reset our life, be ignited to know that, hey, we're getting up and doing something. If we have a discussion, and a discussion in a small group, as we say, people of like minds, so to really say, hey, you know, and I must say, and keep saying it to you all, it is a confidential and a safe space. We are all those who attending, let me say, none of us could, as the old people say, point your finger at anybody else. Eh?
Yeah.
We are there for a reason. We come together so we could learn. We have the experts, professionals there. Even within the group, there are persons professional in their own rights that could share a story from their experience, you know. So we learn by being together with each other. But Terry-Ann, the biggest challenge I see for us on the stage is the acceptance that we don't know it all on the stage, and we have to learn again. You're not going to school, you're not going to do any, you're not back in the workplace where they send you on a workshop.
Yeah.
And you have to, when you come back, you have to give feedback, or you, based on that, whatever you get certification, it will be, you will be promoted, etc. No, it's not, it's a different type of learning. It's a completely different type of learning.
Definitely. You know, Jennifer, you are so very right. And, you know, I always make the point that sometimes family may be there or family may not be there. I use myself as an example. As I said, when I had to take my little hiatus, I love my family dearly and my family loves me to death. But my grief and my stress was something that they could not understand and couldn't help me with. And I had to go to, yes, it was a friend, but also people who were separate and apart. And I think sometimes being able to come to a small group forum as the one that we are having, where there are, as we say, like-minded people, where we have professionals who can, in a very objective way, removed from your, because sometimes you don't want to be reminded of the emotional part or the irrational part of your decision making. You want to be able to put a situation on the table and get feedback from general people who have no stake in this to help you to think through and sort out. And I think that benefit of a small group forum, when we ourselves are facing radical change, radical a difference, when we're facing whatever it is, just change, fear, having to, the pride, oh gosh, the pride, the grandchild didn't pass for the first choice. The daughter and that man, or the son and that girl, or a lot of us facing the issue of same-sex, non-binary, their sexual orientation, and you don't understand what's going on.
And you know what? I must admit, and we're talking about role models, but let's be honest. In the earlier days of mommy and Dee, yes, they had their own challenges. But the type of things we have to deal with today, it's completely different. You know, on the little secret, you know, you may have known the same sex. You may hear the whisper.
Yes.
But a whisper.
And it never come out in your face.
If it is talking about in the church, it's still a whisper. You're not quoting no part of the Bible where certain things occur, right? But now it's in front of your face, it's in your house. It's in your house. The same trend you're proud of, who, you know, you say, well, okay, they did well and you're happy. And they, you know, you think by now, next thing you hear, they're either X, Y, and Z or something completely unexpected. Unexpected.
X, Y, Z.
Yeah, it's unexpected. And I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying.
Yes, no, it's real.
We now have to relearn. And just as how we have to learn what all that is about, as somebody was saying, they have to learn the whole alphabet now. to understand, because you have to understand, you still love in your heart, eh? You have to understand what to do with that. Just so we have to understand with the computer and all the AI. I saw a post, and I one of our posts where in India, they actually, when you look at the anchor, looking good and everything, not real. And
Mhm.
this is things happening at our time, at
We're
our
doing it.
stage.
We're doing
Yeah.
it. Jennifer, we spoke
So we
earlier.
need to really relearn. It is a serious thing.
Yeah.
We cannot sit back and say we have the experience. If we have to chat with the younger ones, and I'm saying younger, and I'm gonna say younger, I always say at my age, what I call young, my daughters tell me, because we young, we over 40, we old. But so when I say younger ones, even in the early 50s, you understand? We are in a different time. And what we are doing, Terry, and you mentioned it earlier, forum like these, they didn't have it before,
No, no. With
You
professionals
retire, you
comparing
enjoy
to
yourself, you come home, and whatever happen.
fucking
You
share.
get sick, well, you're sick, you ain't going nowhere. It didn't a lot of, even with the um development in terms of the medicine and thing, everything has changed. So you say you're living much longer. All right. So it is a different time, and we have created forum like these. We didn't have any role model, nothing to look at before. Before was workshops, workshops in the workplace. And when you do come out, you do a course and you do something, a skill set, more skill set. I always wanted to learn to bake. I go and learn to bake. I always wanted to learn to do some crochet. Things like that, more skill set, a hobby, but nothing to stimulate your brain, nothing to, as some people, nothing to confuse your brain again. It didn't have that.
Nothing to
So
deal with
now
real life.
yeah,
Nothing to deal.
we recognize because we are now on that stage, and we say Terrian at an earlier, I'm at a later stage than Terrian. But listen to me, we all meet up now, eh? We all recognize that if we didn't have each other to keep chatting about and reading different type of articles to help us and associating with the professionals who we know could help us navigate this stage, we wouldn't know about having a reset forum because we have fun. We have our social and we have great fun, but we recognize in between having this fun, we need to also understand what is happening now and make some serious decisions because we want to be happy. Well,
Yeah.
I know I want to be happy, and I'm sure you too, with the minimum stress and leaving
Jennifer,
these young people on their stage
that's not Jennifer,
to enjoy themselves.
I want to give one more example of how by us not having a place, a forum to help to reset and adjust to the new realities of life,
Yeah, and to
we
express
could
how we feel.
we
Yeah.
could inflict real and permanent damage on people that we love. And I'm not so much concerned about us and our children, but us and our grandchildren. Let's talk about this big incident that happened in the news recently with the Trinity College MOCA graduation, where some young men, there's about 20 of them, were set aside, set aside in a different area of the graduation church ceremony to receive their certificates and so on because their hairstyles were deemed inappropriate by the principal. I'm not getting into the issue of whether the hairstyle was appropriate or inappropriate. But that was a 5.8 G person looking at a Generation Z person, the grandchild, and making decisions on very superficial criteria. I would say not looking at the heart, but looking at the garments, and taking decisions that will scar those young men for life, that would turn them away from probably they're bothering to go to church. They're going to have no respect for authority and stuff. Now, everyone is probably, and as I said, I am not talking about the whether you like the hairstyle or not. I think that is immaterial. I'm looking at how the issue was handled. And for many of us, when we get confronted with something that is strange to us, not in alignment with what we understand with our values, because we do not know, we don't have the skill set to know how to, all right, pause, interrogate it, look at this in a rational way, get another party's opinion of it before we come down with a decision that could have long-term consequences that won't contribute to our happiness. We could make decisions from our second act standard that will really create some confusion for us, not only on the third, but on the fourth act, which follows. And as I said, I'm just looking at that decision criteria. And I think if you are seeing something in your life, a situation that is disturbing you, that you're not confronted, because I'm sure those young men would have been going to school with those hairstyles. I'm sure they would have been coming to schools with their braids and whatever it is. So we also, as we go along in the third act stage, we're looking at life and having expectations that something should be done this way or that way. And if we don't allow ourselves space to talk about it, put it in a safe space among people who not going to judge us because it's not your friend and your family per se, and say, you know, I looking at this and I really don't understand that. So what is going on here? And allow us to have a discussion so that when we confront it, we can confront it while maintaining the relationship, leaving things whole, or even the possibility that by having that conversation with others, we may understand the situation better and make, if not a different decision, then choose to communicate our decisions differently. And I think that is one of the main problems our cohort is having with the younger generations, because we are seeing now that in one household, and we talked about that in a show, you can have up to 4 generations in one household. That did not happen before. And we are going on to a time when we will need our children, we will need our grandchildren, we will need our great-grandchildren. And if we don't develop the tools to have difficult conversations or even express to someone, you know, I don't understand this at all. Anybody has an idea of what this is and how to deal with it, whether it's hairstyle, whether it's partner status, whether it is sexual orientation, whether it is, whether you think they achieving the ambition that you had for them, whether it is you believe that they're not doing academically what they should, whether they're not doing financially what you wanted them to do, they can't find the jobs, and you have to carry them, and therefore you're guilty and you're angry at the same time because you can have the life that you want to live. Listen, when all of that get bottles up inside of us, that is where the sabotage of happiness occurs. And if we don't have a place to at least present it and get some independent and objective feedback, we really could not have the happiness that we want. And Jen, I think you'll agree that this is a really serious situation affecting our cohort.
I would have, and I'm taking it, and I hear you on that decision making by the school. I taken it more to the family side, and I must say, as we get older, if you interview, again going back, persons who 70 plus 80s who really at this stage, everyone will tell you how important it is for family to have some family member visit you. They're hoping now, or that some stage you wanted to get it around out the house, when you reach that stage, you wish somebody could come back and live with you because you have company. I am one, Terry, and I will love my freedom and my space. Recently, I wasn't too well, and my daughter came there with me, and I was so happy. And in my mind, I say, listen, I think I need somebody to come live with me now. You understand? So family is very important. And you don't want to wait until then when you're feeling lonely and when, some people complain, oh, I'm not seeing the children. Don't ask for the grand now. Even now, you're
Yeah,
not
that's
seeing them.
why. Are you doing something to prevent
So
them?
we have to check ourselves, understand, going back to what Terry said, it don't happen overnight. It don't happen overnight. And we still at this stage, if we see our family, and when I say family, it extended family too. It don't have to be, if you don't have a child, extended family.
The people
How
you have close. The
important
people you have close.
their visit. You also read a lot to say, the older people get, what is really stimulate them is having people around them, chatting and sharing stories and showing appreciation. If we don't show the appreciation now, and all we are doing, Terry, and as I said, I didn't want to comment on that hair story. You know what I thought when I saw that? Nothing to do with the hairstyle or anything. I said, I wonder if they know this trend and going back and no church after that. That all this thing about getting the young people to come back to church and to believe in God and all that. And as a church, as you're doing that, as leaders, you really want them to come back to church after.
Then coming by
You
you.
feel you could have some service,
Not
some
by
Thanksgiving
you.
service after results come out to show how great the school is, and you having a Thanksgiving service. Who come in and stepping in that church? Terry, and that was it for me. Nothing to do with here could be long, short, nothing. As you said, that decision to me was a decision that those people ain't going to, whether they're married, they mightn't get married in any church, they mightn't get married, right? They're not following any rules of the church because as far as they're concerned, you don't have that you don't want to hear my side of it and have the flexibility. And I'm bringing that into family. So it may not be school because we may not have the grandchildren or the children in that situation, but we may have them home in the house with the different hairstyles, whether the hair straight, crooked or not, it ain't going there. But hairstyle, I'm just talking about hairstyle.
And zonk.
Right? The parts, the color, and everything else. And if we don't try to understand, I'm not saying change your values, I'm saying understand. And if you have to share with them and let them know where you stand, we also should try and understand. Because let me tell you, if you're not bending and you're not flexible, Terry, and they're not coming to visit you, including your children, and not reaching grand, your own children. Because if you don't like their spouse, their partner, they change your religion, there are lots of dynamics. If you are not in agreement with none and your decision is the hard line, this or that, like how they say the school, you either do it here, that, or you're not coming up on stage. Bam. No kind of let us graduate and let us
no conversation.
No. It's my way, or they say my way, the highway. The only thing now, Terry, and in our time, we used to give in. Now, when we say it's my way or the highway, whether it's marriage or not, they're taking the highway. They're gone. They don't feel they have to stay no work for 20 years to retire. All right? They don't feel they need your car, your house. You could have the biggest house. They're okay. They could go and bunk somewhere else. They could fly out somewhere else. So this is what is happening. This is the reality in our time. And this is where we share. And you have to understand. And let me tell you, recently they're in conversations, Terry, and not that I'm shocked, but recognizing so many of us don't understand the simple things, Terry. We sharing thing with grade, you're hearing those saying, if they can't listen to the rules, how would they do X, Y, and Z? Very hard line. And the principal is writing it. Okay. Then you hear the other saying, how they could leave their work. They have a good work and they're leaving their work because they're not thinking like you. You brought them up a certain way, they don't care again. It's a different time. So we may not have to give in totally, but I think the understanding that open communication would make them want to come back and talk to you in your old age or share situation. And we have a lot to offer. Let me tell you, we
Absolutely.
have a lot to offer.
Absolutely.
And when we share, you may be surprised to say they understand and they remember and they see us doing this and it worked for us. But what don't work, let's talk about it. So yeah, Terry, and family, and you see these rules we have down from whatever second stage, even in the workplace, and you're telling these young people you either do it this or that, and the next day you come to work, they send a resignation and they ain't coming back.
And Jennifer,
Whether they have degree, all the degrees you send them to do, they ain't coming back.
when we check it, half of those rules that we enforcing, because enforcing rules is part of our status. That I say so and you obey because it's part of my status. The people that we have to live with and who have to care for us will challenge us if this rule doesn't make sense. And that is something we never did. If somebody gave us a rule, we enforce the rule. We never ask why or how. So we don't naturally have the skill set to have a conversation about why we're making a decision and have a discussion with someone with a different point of view. And I think that is where a lot of our frustration and fear comes from. And this reset forum, the kinds of skills that we will be discussing, what Maureen is going to allow is for you to present some of those questions and doubts that you have in your mind and recommend ways of dealing with it. And hello, we're in a group of people who are going through the same thing. And as we say, a conversation is one of the most powerful tools that you can employ to get life to be how you want it. And that is essentially the purpose of this Reset Forum. So we are really, really looking forward to having a limited amount of you there. We've still got a few seats available because it's not going to be very large to be able to maintain the confidentiality and to give everybody a chance to have their ideas expressed and explored and to be able to hear each other and to critically get to know one another, because it's also a social thing. If you choose to identify yourself. So I am very excited, Jennifer. I'm really, really very excited. I'm looking forward.
And as I said, don't worry about the numbers, the limit, but if it's overflowing, we'll have a second session for you, right? Because we really don't want it. We want you to be comfortable in in that forum and to express yourself and listen, really feel comfortable sitting back and listening without feeling, as Terry and says, God, you want to hide? So,
feeling how. So listen, folks, we looking forward to seeing you all. And remember, give us a call or go onto any of our social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
You send an email, you WhatsApp us. And you know what, Terry? And so when we get the payment and we confirm and we send you that link, you're also free to send us a little private note. Tell us what you would like, if you have any special questions, special concern, what area you would like us to cover, because sometimes you don't want to say anything when you get there, but if you tell us beforehand without calling your name or pointing you out, we will discuss that area of concern.
Definitely. Yeah. And one other thing that we have to remember, in previous fora, we have brought on the best of professionals. We have gotten new attorneys, we've got new senior counsels, we've got new medical doctors, we've got new financial analysts. We now are bringing on psychologists, we have investment bankers. We are now bringing on psychologists. The cost of these professionals, and they have so generously agreed to share their time. And if you've attended a forum before, they don't hold back. They don't hold back on their advice, on their professionalism. So you could look up Maureen Joanne Bowen's creds anywhere and understand the quality that will be available to you. So think about it. Think of the questions that you have. Think about the fears that you may have. Think about the things that are concerning you that you want to put there and get an opinion, because it will help ease your burdens.
And you have one day, today Wednesday. It's
Yeah.
on Friday. So it's still not too late. Give us that call. We should sign you up and send you that link. All right.
So see you then.
Bye.
Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.